here's something else that's going to come into play too. When I have the planking going across here, obviously it's going to fit, it has to fit underneath the door. I've got that piece there and I'm looking at it and it's barely going to hit. So if I push down on that, it's still going to rub on there. So I know one of the other things to my project is I've got to take this door off and I'm going to have to undercut the door. Before I take this door off the hinges and pull it off, what I want to do is close the door, and then I'm going to take some measurements because I don't know if the door is cut nice and level with the flooring here. I might have a bigger gap here than over here, and now's my time, my chance that once I put the floor down, I have the same gap going all the way down there, so I can make some determinations right now. So I measure here, I got about a 1/4 inch gap there, and I have about a 1/4 over here too, and it dips down right in the middle. I got 3/8. I've got to cut there, and you know, I'm not going to do anything fancy and try to cut this door at an angle to do a contour, you know, in the middle because of the bulge. I want both ends about the same, so I'm going to keep that in mind. Now I know what I need to do in order to cut this. Now you can have a 3/8 gap underneath your door, or 1/4 inch or something like that. So measure the thickness of your floor, make a determination where you're going to cut this door off so that you know that before you take the door off, okay? Because once you pull this door off and you put your planking down here, you're going to have a hard time figuring out what you're going to do. You may cut it here, think this door, oh, I'll just cut it square, or I'll measure that and cut it, and then you put the door back on, you find out, my word, you got a big old gap over here because you didn't do a little bit of checking first, okay? So check it out and make your determinations and write it down, or even mark the door. You can mark the door on this little end with a pencil mark and over here, so once you pull it down, you know where you're going to end up cutting your line. I've got to mark this door before I take it off, but before I do that, I need to know how thick this planking is. And I looked on the box and it said 5/16, but I thought, you know, I'm just going to measure this quickly. And it's got a little piece of foam on the back side. I kind of like that because it's gonna cushion the floor a little bit. But I'm going to measure that whole thing anyways, because they said 5/16, and I'm finding out 5/16 was just the thickness of the wood. Then you got a 1/16 of an inch for that little foam backing. So, you know, I'm glad I'm measuring that, because I know when I set this down here, I've got 3/8 of an inch that I have to allow for this flooring to figure out where I'm going to cut this door. Okay, so I've got 3/8 for that, and I measured this before, and this is a 1/4 inch, there, and measure that, and that's a 1/4 inch. They did a pretty good job when they first cut this. You'll find lots of times some doors, they don't have the same gap underneath the door because the floor dips down, or they just didn't allow for it when they installed the door, and the door's got a bigger gap on one end or the other. So now's your time to kind of check that out. Okay, so I'm just gonna figure that I want probably a 1/4 inch above this flooring. So I'm gonna go ahead and mark this door accordingly. Okay, well, I can do it right here. I've got a 1/4 inch. I can just hold it right down on the floor because I know 3/8 is the planking, and then another 1/4 inch is 5/8. Okay, I can measure 5/8 there, and then I can do the same down here. and I know that gives me a 1/4 inch above the top of this, but now I can go ahead and take the door off, and I can remember that those lines are a 1/4 inch. So once I get my threshold, I didn't get my threshold yet. I should have, but I was kind of unsure at the store. And so once I cut a few of these, I'll take a little scrap with the store with me to see which color of the threshold I need and what I'm going to do. Then I'm going to bring that back here and make a determination exactly how to cut this last piece and all that. But see, the threshold could stick up above this, maybe a 1/4 inch. And if that's the case, if I just take this door off and cut it right now, right there, then when I put the threshold on here, the threshold could hit that door right there, right? So I'm just going to remember that I'm a 1/4 inch up off of the top of the flooring at those marks. And if the threshold is up higher than that or whatever, once I take this door down, see, I have to take the door down now, or else I can't put my flooring down this last 2.5, 3 feet, because the door is going to hit it. So I'll remember that, and then if I got to mark those up higher when I cut the door off, then I'll do that once I get the threshold. Lots of little things you got to kind of remember and food for thought before you just start taking the door down and all that. Just remember and kind of go through a few steps. Okay, do I do this now? Okay, what about this? What about that? Just get your mind kind of flowing for the project, especially if you've never done this before, and it'll help you on your way.